I think we can actually quite clearly delineate strengths of the madrasa and weaknesses of the madrasa. And we can delineate strengths of the academy and weaknesses of the academy. And the goal, my goal in particular, is to merge between these two. The goal is to produce a new version, a synthesis that takes the best of both of these worlds and produces minds, produces thinkers, mufakkirin and ulama that can traverse both worlds with confidence. And that's something that, inshallah, we're seeing happening in front of our very eyes. And I hope, inshallah, CIS I hope, inshallah, as well, is, with the same vision and mind. So what are some of the strengths of the, So these are definitely 3 strengths of the madrasa: the encyclopedic scope and breadth of teaching, memorization, and a mastery of Arabic. Of the strengths of the academy, number 1, and this is without a doubt, in my opinion, the strongest strength of the academy, is that the academy brings in the context of ideas and movers and shakers and thinkers and intellectuals and changes. The academy brings in the political, the cultural, the social context. You situate what's going on in the greater narrative so that you are better equipped to understand why what is happening is happening. That is almost absent from most madrasas. You study an author, you study another author, you study a third author, you barely know the years that they live and die, you have no idea of the societies they've been and raised in and the influences of the people around them. Are things that it does is that you begin to see the cross-cultural and the multilingual references, the source materials. We are taught in the academy, that not only must you go back to the original, whether it's Ibn Taymiyyah, whether it's Suyuti, whether it's Ibn Hajar, whether it's As-Suhrawardi, but you also need to see how later people interpreted Ibn Taymiyyah, interpreted Suhrawardi, interpreted Al-Ghazali, and you see the evolution of interpretations which will then help you in your interpretation. And this to me was, again, mind-blowing, simple conceptually, but not practiced in our madrasa. We go straight back to Ibn Taymiyyah and we jump over 700 years of scholarship. What that does is you can misinterpret the author easily, or you can have novel reinterpretations, which frankly we're seeing in certain strands of Islam. I don't want to go there today, but it becomes easy to reinterpret that which might not be reinterpretable because you have cut off tradition. You've cut off turath. You've cut off scholarship as if it doesn't exist. And what the academy does, it forces you to read through all of the scholarship before you form your own mind. Know what others have said. Go ahead and agree and disagree, but see what the reception has been. See how he has been interpreted by other people so that you can then assess the merits of your own interpretation. And I think this is, again, very, very important to contextualize your own thoughts, to have the opportunity to engage in conversation with other intellectuals from other civilizations and other cultures whom you can agree or disagree with. And even in their mistakes, it'll help you formulate your own minds. Oh, I see why he misunderstood Al-Ghazali, why he formed this view. And when you engage with other minds, you become a better thinker. So I think this is definitely one of the strengths of the academy. As well, historical analysis. Now this is a very contentious point. The madrasa teaches you to accept everything you have been taught. Now, as a Muslim, I say I have no problems accepting Allah and His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But it's not just the Quran and Sunnah, it's the interpretation of your teachers of the Quran and Sunnah. You are not allowed to dare challenge their interpretation. Forget somebody, bigger than them. Now, in the academy, they welcome source criticism. They welcome a healthy dose of skepticism. They welcome you to challenge based upon, obviously, their paradigm of knowledge and usul, not the challenge out of nothing, but they're welcoming new ideas. But nonetheless, to conclude here, let me just say that being in both of these fields has caused me to appreciate the both of them in a better manner. And I am now a firm believer that more Muslims need to study in the academy, and that our madrasas need to revamp their curriculums. Both needs to take place. And that a third space needs to be created for practicing Muslims to be trained in a madrasa setting with the critical tools of the academy. This is something that is essential for the future of our ummah. Alhamdulillah, in America we have the Islamic Seminary. I'm doing something like this. I believe you are also doing something similar. But the world has changed. It's a philosophy and idea. We do need third spaces where it is very clear that we are faith-based academics. And this, inshallah, is the potential for a revival of so many of the projects we're talking about. You know, so much can spark across the globe. It needs to happen at a very public level. It needs to combine the intelligentsia of the world. It needs to be a project that people buy into. And if this is done, I'm confident that wherever this is, or multiple places, it will help spark conversations around the globe, inshallah ta'ala. So I don't know how possible that is, but it is possible in those lands to create such third spaces and to allow graduates of those madrasas opportunities to explore alternative paradigms and broaden their horizons. Not everybody is going to do that, but that is very possible. You might not change the entire system, but the goal is that enough people will go through an alternative to eventually be reabsorbed into the system and begin to make changes. Public, and to be very frank about certain pros and cons. You get a lot of pushback and a lot of anger and hatred, but you also get a lot of good. So I think if we were to just begin this, and hopefully one day third spaces can be created in Pakistan. And I believe that has already begun, inshallah. I know it's begun in England. There's the Cambridge College has happened, where madrasa graduates are meant to go study for a year. You know, in America, we're trying to do something similar. It is possible, and inshallah, in this generation, because we are seeing the realities of the world, in this generation, I'm positive change can happen, and all of us can be a part of that change, inshallah.
Inshallah.